John, welcome. It's a pleasure. Let's do a couple rumors first about Ohtani. Is this true that if it's leaked of what teams he's visiting, that will be a negative in his eyes, whether he signs to the team, if in fact that team leaks that he's one of the teams that he's going to visit? What's your take on that? I've heard that. Is that true?
Yeah, I hope not. I hope he goes where he wants to go and doesn't worry about something like that. I think he is going to value comfort. I don't know that he's about money. If he had waited a couple more years, he could have been a free agent right then, a full free agent, and gotten hundreds of millions of dollars 4 or 5 years ago. But he obviously came over as soon as he could, proved he's the best player in baseball in the world. And, he did everything that he said he was going to do. And I think he's going for comfort. So I'm not ruling out the Angels, a return there, and many other teams. But I hope it's not anything based on what's leaked or not leaked.
All right, good one there. Is his price tag going to be somewhat reduced because he can't pitch next year? Or is he going to get the same amount of money he would have gotten anyway?
Well, I think it's going to be reduced. I still think it's going to be enormous. I predicted $600 million. I do think he'll easily get the $500 million. We really don't, other than the Angels, the other teams don't know what the marketing value is. They can estimate, but they don't know. Some people say it's $20 million for the team. Some people say $30 million. Could be even higher. We don't know. But if his value is $25 million a year for marketing, and it's a 10-year deal, that's a $250 million value on top of his baseball value. So obviously we saw Aaron Judge get $360 million. If this guy is somewhat comparable to Aaron Judge offensively, I think Judge a little tick higher offensively and obviously plays the field. But if he's $360 million plus the marketing of $250, that's $600 million. So I think he's going to do okay. But yeah, I mean, certainly not being able to pitch next year, needing the elbow surgery would diminish it some. Maybe he would have gotten $700 million.
All right. Is this going to be a long process, or are we going to find out, say, by the middle of December? What can you tell me on that?
Yeah, we'd like it to be soon. We'd like all of them to be soon. But certainly, I think a lot of people are waiting on Yamamoto, who is 25-year-old ace, and on Ohtani, who is the best player in the world, two-way superstar. So, I think that probably will hold up the market. I'm not faulting them. They should do what they want to do and what they can do. But I think, obviously we have certain guys right at the top. You mentioned Hader before. He's at the top of the closer market. You've got Bellinger top of the outfield market, Ohtani top of the hitter market, and everything market, and Yamamoto and Snell top of the pitcher market. So we'll see what those guys do. Once the top goes, the other guys might start to go.
All right, we'll talk about Soto in a minute. I would think the Red Sox and Dodgers will add a pitcher at all costs. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Red Sox and Dodgers, big market teams, definitely needing to add a pitcher. I think looking at the top of the rotation are the Braves, the Astros, the Cubs, the Cards, the Dodgers, the Giants, and others. And Yamamoto is a separate category because there are a lot of teams looking at Yamamoto who probably wouldn't sign a Snell or a Montgomery just because he's 25 years old. That includes the Diamondbacks and the Tigers. And there are other teams that could end up signing an ace. The Rangers certainly would like to get Jordan Montgomery back. There's no question about that. And I don't know that they're desperate for a starter otherwise, but certainly those teams I mentioned, which is 7 or 8 teams, want that starting pitcher. Now, there aren't that many great starters on the market. Obviously, you guys have talked about Snell and Yamamoto. They're at the very top of the market. Then Montgomery right after him. Eduardo Rodriguez right after him. Gray, Stroman, depending on what you think, but there aren't enough starters to fill all those spots. So in a game of musical chairs, someone is going to be left out. I will say I do think Dylan Cease has an excellent chance to be traded. We're going to hear Burns' name a lot, Corbin Burns from the Brewers. But look, the Brewers, I give them credit. They never rebuild, and that's hard to do in the 30th market in baseball. So I would guess that Burns is probably staying. You'll hear his name out there. I think he's probably staying. Probably same with Glass now with Tampa. You'll hear his name. Not sure he's getting traded, but I do think Dylan Cease will be traded.
All right, and then Soto is next. I mean, listen, the Padres are going to lower their payroll. They've tried now a couple different ways and a couple different eras to, try to win with big players, and it doesn't work. So Soto is going to be traded. Now, listen, nobody's going to be able to sign him. He's got 1 year left for free agency, so you're not going to be able to trade him and get him signed, which might, lower the amount of teams. Where to, and what's your thoughts on him? I'm interested. Let me hear from Juan Soto.
I mean, I think your analysis is exactly right. I went to this offseason thinking that they didn't need to trade him. Obviously, you mentioned that Peter Seidler, their beloved chairman, passed away untimely death at age 63, a very lovely man, and obviously did everything he could to help San Diego win and do the best they can in a mid-sized market, not a small market, but a mid-sized market. And that is a big loss for the Padres. But I do think his death will now probably influence things to some degree. They do need pitching. Obviously, we've talked about Hader and Snell, and they have other guys who are free agent pitchers, so they're no longer on their roster. Martinez, Waka, others. So they need to get pitching, and I have come to the conclusion that a trade for Soto now is quite likely. Obviously, the Yankees are a team that would love to get Soto. The Mets, any big market team, the Cubs, you could throw any team in there that wants a big bat. Now, the Yankees want a left-handed bat. They want an outfielder. He fits Yankee Stadium. Obviously, that's the most obvious fit. But as you said, it's going to be a one-year thing because Scott Boras is the agent. He's a year from free agency. We're talking about a guy who's already turned down $440 million. So to sign him, you're going to have to go well north of that, and that's just not happening. I mean, he'll talk to teams, and he's told teams this. He'll talk to teams if they're willing to talk about his perception of the market. So that's well over 500 million. I think we're probably talking 600 million. So it's going to be a one-year deal. They'll still get a lot for him. I mean, he's a terrific player, one of the best 5 hitters in the game, surely, but they won't be able to recoup the 5 great prospects that they gave up to get him.
No way. No, Padres. I don't blame the Padres for making that trade, but they are not going to get the same kind of player back. You're 1,000% correct on that. All right. The scenario with, we said the Red Sox, we said the Dodgers. I don't know what the Mets are going to do. It's kind of weird with them. We know the Yankees will do what they have to do. What sneaky team do you think would be more active than the Giants would be active? We know that. What sneaky team will be more active than we think? Let me hear. Which one?
Well, the Braves have made some trades to set things up already. Obviously, they added Reynaldo Lopez. Maybe they will sign a big free agent starter as well. I think they're looking at Lopez as a potential starter, but I wouldn't rule out another starter for Atlanta. I could see that easily. I do think St. Louis is a team that will add a couple more starters in addition to Lance Lynn, who's taking his physical as we speak. And I think the Astros, probably people aren't talking about that much. They're kind of an under-the-radar team. I think they're looking at starting pitching as well. So, I mean, if you're a starter and you've had a reasonably good year and you're on the market, you're in great shape. I heard you guys talking about Sonny Gray. I mean, let's not forget he's one of the 3 Cy Young finalists. And Snell, Alana's absolutely right. He's had some mediocre seasons, but it is an amazing accomplishment to win 2 Cy Youngs and basically lead the league in almost everything. Obviously, Strider led in strikeouts last year and in wins, but to lead the league in almost everything, including walks. I mean, he gave up so many walks, yet his ERA was 2.25. Let's not forget also that Snell's ERA over his last 20-plus starts was 1.2, which was half of everybody else. 1.2 ERA from late May on. So you guys talked about Montgomery. He's terrific. Eduardo Rodriguez, excellent. So there are some excellent starters, just not enough of them to fill all of these teams' needs. The Braves, Cards, Cubs, Dodgers, Astros, Giants, and many others. And again, many of these teams are looking at Yamamoto, and I'm not sure they're looking at that strongly at the others. That includes the Yankees, maybe the Phillies, maybe the Mets. So not enough pitchers out there to fill all the needs.
Good job there, John. Happy Thanksgiving. You do a great job. Thanks for a couple minutes here today. Appreciate you coming on.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, Chris.